Family Guy, the pain is amplified. Hello, I'm HG Tudor. As you saw from my video yesterday, Family Guy had a go at the Sussexes, ridiculing them for being lazy grifters. This, of course, resonated with many observers and has been picked up in the popular press and some of the broadsheets as well. Ordinarily, the content of a programme such as South Park or Family Guy would not make the news, but it does when it comes to the Sussexes. This is because the media knows that people want to hear about them, predominantly because they're now in the train wreck status, whereby people aren't interested in them because they like them, they're interested in seeing them crashing and burning. It's all about grudge reading, grudge watching. And this time, the Daily Telegraph has taken up the cudgel in relation to this latest piece of lampoonery of the Sussex. As India McTaggart writes, Family Guy takes swipe at Harry and this one's wife over Netflix millions. Family Guy has mocked the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, saying that the couple received millions from Netflix for no one knows what. It marks the second time that a hit American satirical cartoon has taken aim at the couple, who stood down as working members of the royal family in 2020 to relocate to the US. Now, pausing there, it is invariably the case that when you're famous, that you will find yourself being lampooned and ridiculed in some way. It might be for your particular acting style. It might be the way that you look. It might be the way that you speak. It might be some of the things that you've done. Most famous people recognise that this goes with the territory. The non-narcissists essentially think, well, sometimes it can be a little bit hurtful, but that's the price you pay for fame and being in the public eye. I'm not going to let it get to me. I'll just move on from it. In some instances, it can be particularly cruel, and quite possibly behind closed doors, certain stars get very upset about it. With regard to the narcissists, of course, it amounts to a threat to control, save where you have a highly provocative narcissist who laps up such behaviour because they play on it and it's what their modus operandi is in order to compel people to respond to them. So when it comes to the response of a narcissist to such mockery, they essentially would fall into three groups. The highly provocative narcissists who basically say, give me more, this is what I want, because this is what I play on. Then narcissists that recognise, well, this is part of the territory, and ultimately, here I am in the rarefied stratosphere, way above those who are taking the mick out of me. I just dismiss it. My facade is such, I'm not going to let such a little beetle as this individual, this comedian, this show, this cartoon, this commentator in a newspaper be seen to get to me. I am way above all of that. And they have a particular control over their ignited fury. Thus, these greater narcissists either don't notice this has been said about them, but where they do, they just dismiss it and move on to the next thing that they're dealing with. But the third group of narcissists, which will be lesser or mid-range, are affected by it because it's a threat to control. And particularly those who are mid-range that operate a facade of being kind and empathic, such as this one's wife. She simply cannot comprehend why you would be so cruel as to take the mick out of her. She has no sense of humour herself. She cannot see the humour in what is being stated. Her narcissism doesn't allow it. And instead, her narcissism tells her that she's being picked on, that this is hateful, that this is cruel, that this is racist, so that she will issue a pity play, either privately or publicly, in order to nullify this threat to control. Accordingly, the fact that Family Guy has lampooned her issues challenge fuel towards her. She's being spoken about, but it completely contradicts the image that she has of her and therefore amounts as a threat to control. The Telegraph continues by explaining in the new episode which aired on Sunday, protagonist Peter Griffin is seen comparing himself to the couple when thinking of ways to retrieve money he is owed, saying he will go it alone like the Sussexes. The scene then cuts to the couple sunbathing on lounges by a pool, while a butler appears and says he is there to give them millions from Netflix for no one knows what. Cartoon Prince Harry waves away the envelope offered to him for the Netflix deal, saying, "Put it with the rest of them." An animated version of the Duchess then appears to get a telephone reminder, after which she says, "Babe, time to do our daily $250,000 sponsored Instagram post for Del Taco." A downcast Harry, staring off into the distance, replies, "I shouldn't have left the made-up nonsense," in which appears to be a dig at the British monarchy. The short skit parodies the multi-year deal that the Sussexes signed with the streaming giant Netflix, rumoured to be worth $100 million in September 2020. The couple has since produced the documentary series, Harry and Harry's Wife, which revealed behind-the-scenes details of royal life for the couple, as well as the Heart of Invictus series, which followed a group of Invictus competitors from around the world. The couple also narrated the Live to Lead series, which followed the careers and lives of leadership figures. Harry and This One's Wife, which featured damaging claims levelled at the royal family throughout its 6 episodes, became the most watched subscription television series of last year in the United Kingdom. It has since been reported that Netflix paid $3 million for the Duke and Duchess to turn a romance novel, Meet Me at the Lake, by Canadian journalist and author Carly Fortune, into a film as their next project for the deal they struck with the streaming service. In the Family Guy episode, the cartoon Prince Harry's dismissal of the millions and direction for the butler to put it with the rest of them appears to be a reference to the other multi-million-dollar deal they signed after their move to Monte Shitcho, California, with Spotify. The reputed $20 million deal, however, came to a premature end this summer after just one series of This One's Wife's 12-part Archetype podcast and a short holiday special. It came after the Wall Street Journal reported that the couple left both Netflix and Spotify executives underwhelmed by their lack of productivity and ideas, and subsequently a Spotify executive publicly labelled the couple fucking grifters. The Telegraph also brings up the comedic swipe that came from South Park, and therefore reports how they were the characters, the Prince and Princess of Canada, a young royal couple who moved to a small town in search of privacy while simultaneously constantly drawing attention to themselves. The red-headed prince and his wife are shown publishing a book, appearing on TV for interviews and embarking on a worldwide We Want Privacy tour. South Park dedicated an entire episode to taking thinly veiled swipes at the royal couple, including featuring a book written by the Canadian prince titled Wah, with a cover that resembles Prince Harry's memoir, Spare. This is the Telegraph reporting on it, but several other newspapers did as well, alongside, of course, commentary on social media. Thus, the pain that is caused by the swipe that took place on Family Guy becomes amplified. And that's always the problem that This One's Wife has. By courting the media in the way that she did, and then attacking it, by courting the royal family in the way that she did, and then attacking it, she has made herself unreliable and unpopular. And therefore, this means that where there is any opportunity to mock, lampoon, take the rise, take the Michael, take the piss out of her and Ginger Bollocks, not only will it be done, but it'll be reported on. As I mentioned earlier, there are many satirical takes of celebrities that don't become reported in the mainstream media, but it does with This One's Wife, because they know that there's a ready army of individuals who will lap it up and be entertained by the disclosures, and furthermore, the fact that the media itself relishes portraying her in such a way because they don't like her either. All of this is as a consequence of the way that she has behaved, and each time what amounts to one threat to control as a consequence of the mimicry and mockery rather, and the lampooning of her becomes amplified because it's picked up by mainstream and social media, and thus there are threats to control left, right and centre for This One's Wife, all of which strains her narcissism to the limit. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.